Welcome to Find Your Nova Show, a show for aspirational leaders, dreamers, and innovators.
As you may or may not know from the previous episodes, Nova is Latin for a bright star. And here on the show, we do believe that every child is bright and unique in their own way.
Exactly. And all one needs to do is find what they're naturally good at so that they can be able to unlock their full potential.
So if innovation, leadership, and cool fun stuff is your vibe,
please subscribe. So what you should expect in this show is Q&A sessions. We'll be having interviews. We'll be doing Nova Find a Compass and Fun Corner.
Before we do proceed, let's introduce ourselves. I'm your host, Brandon Chisika, an alumnus of the 2020 class, and I'm currently studying law at Strathmore University.
And I'm your host, Beyonce Wambui Nyambura, an alumnus of the 2020 class and currently doing fashion design and interior design.
Before we do introduce our special guest for today, let's take a recap of the previous episode with Adele Onyango.
You may start something and it looks very Juakali, and it's just born out of passion or like your own human life story. Just keep at it because you don't know what it could grow to. Just start whatever it is that you want to do. Yeah.
So today we have an amazing man with us to be interviewed. He's a chef, a rugby star, a content creator, a carpenter. Yani, he's a jack of all trades. So guys, help me welcome Mr.
Dennis Ombachi. Applaud him. That is my part.
Thank you.
How are you?
Thank you for welcoming me to your show. I'm doing quite well. Full. The lunch was amazing. Loved it.
Welcome.
Yeah, so looking up to.
You're very welcome. We're grateful to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so tell us, who's Dennis Ombachi?
Dennis Ombachi. Depends the Dennis Ombachi you want to know. There are many faces to Dennis Ombachi. Dennis Ombachi. Yeah, but basically Dennis Ombachi is, I'm a simple guy, a regular Kenyan. Many of you probably know me through my exploits on the rugby pitch. I've played for my country, represented Kenya for over 10 years, since 2009, till sometime last year when I decided to take a sabbatical. So I'm not yet out, I haven't retired. It's just a break, a family break because of the kids and stuff. Yeah, so you might know me from my rugby, or online you might know me as the roaming chef. The content I put out, mostly cooking and family, a bit of lifestyle here and there. And other people who I've met outside there, maybe at the workshop, they might know me as a carpenter of some sort. So I can say I'm a jack of all trades and a master of a few.
Wow.
Oh, wow, that's really amazing. Would you mind giving us a background check of yourself? Like, where did you grow up? How did you grow up? Yeah.
A background check of myself, yeah. I'd like to say I'm those kind of people who are raised in all corners of the country, because I was born in Nandi Hills in 1991. I lived there until I was around 10 to 12 years, so the better part of my childhood I spent, because my mom was a primary school teacher over there, and also she used to sell mtumba clothes, and then my dad used to work in the tea plantations as a tea manager. So yeah, most of my childhood I remember back from those days running around the tea bushes, chasing the rabbits, some of the antelopes. I don't know whether, what are they called, antelopes or gazelles?
Yeah, antelopes.
Yeah, something like that. So basically that was my childhood, going fishing, illegal fishing in the tea estates, dams. And then from there we moved to Limuru. From Limuru, I moved to Kiambu. And then just my later teen stages, I spent it in Gatundu, where we lived actually in the middle of the Abadeas. And so as you look at my childhood, I usually say I still am a village boy, and I think my love for nature also grew from there. That's why I usually love taking walks in the forest, or even just go camping in the forest. So my childhood has influenced a bigger part of my upbringing. Because even like schooling, my early schooling days, I attended Nandi Hills Academy. Then before I went to standard 6, or nowadays it's called grade 6 or what? So around here, standard 6, I moved to Kisii, that's Nyambuno High School. And then from there, I studied Kisii High School from 1 till Form 2. And then I was a naughty kid. So I went through 3 high schools. So from Kisi High School, I went to Olkejuado. I lasted 3 days.
3 days.
Three strong days.
What? Okay.
And then I finally settled at Kiambu High School, and yeah, there I believe is where I finally settled down. I think even my passion for rugby really took off from there on.
Now that you've mentioned the aspect of rugby, so how did you land into being a rugby player? How did it come across?
Oh, rugby. I won't lie that it was a sport I was interested much growing up, because the country growing rugby back in the days, even right now, it's not really grassroots rugby. Because growing up, I used to like playing a lot of football, and basically I was just athletic. So soccer, running around, I was good at short sprints. But then rugby, I think I first held my rugby ball. It was in high school, that is Kisi High School, around Form 2, but I really didn't like it. I just joined the team so as to avoid some of the school chores and something like that. But so after Kisi High School, I think, let me just say, in Kisi High School, I was expelled. So I was a bit of a naughty kid. I hope if there are any kids watching, don't follow that part of my footsteps, because we were... What happened actually is a funny story, because we were in Form 2, we were supposed to be going to Form 3, and then we had exams. And the cutoff mark to go to Form 3 was a C-, which I achieved, so don't think I didn't get the C-. But then they came up with this plan out of the blues that if you didn't get 30% in mathematics, you're not going to Form 3. And that particular point in time, I had a solid 9%. So, yeah, in Form 2, I was not that serious with my education. So we sat down with a few students and asked ourselves that even if they managed to reduce the cutoff points, some of us that had below 20%, we had no hope, and there's no way I was going to repeat Form 2. So we caused chaos in school. We organized a school strike, which I regret it up to today. It actually still affects me till today. And then, so that's how I got expelled from my first school. But that's where I picked up my rugby ball. But now when I moved to Kiambu High School is when I decided to get a bit serious with my life. And the principal then, Mr. Gitao, told me that rugby is actually a good sport. If you manage to join in and manage to be a good player, it will teach you some awesome values and principles that will see you through life, through high school and through life. And through that, that's how I actually joined rugby, and I found that I was actually good at it. Because I remember during our year, it was one of the years that I think Kiambu High School managed to qualify to the National Sevens tournament, up to the semi-finals. Because I remember the quarterfinals, we bet the likes of Musingu. Yeah, Musingu, Maseno. Yeah, we actually had a good team back then. So briefly, that's my career in rugby, high school career. But of course, after that, I managed to join club rugby, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Wow.
Wow, that's a good journey.
A really amazing history
Yeah.
from you. Yeah. Okay, just picking up from where you left, still onto rugby. Do you mind telling us how rugby has influenced you as a person, like how it's made you grow, or whatever you've learned from it throughout your years of playing professional rugby?
Rugby, I will say it has made me the man I am. Everything I have right now, and still is getting, or still I'm getting, is through rugby. So yeah, I will say rugby I've met awesome people, traveled the world. I've been to 35 plus countries. Yeah, in 10 years for free. That's
For free?
That's a good thing. Yeah,
Way.
when you're traveling,
Wow.
it's for free. You know, the visa application, nothing. You just wait for the travel date, sit in a plane, land at the airport. There's someone showing, okay, you're supposed to be at gate A, gate B. It's time to feed. You go there, just sit on the table. The meals are already prepared. If you arrive to the hotel, you turn on the TV, your name is over there.
Yeah.
You know, life has been good, yeah. So rugby has taught me, but the most valuable lessons I will say is discipline, resilience, and resilience, perseverance, and basically just a never say attitude. Because rugby as a sport is a sport of like any other sports, is full of ups and downs. Like me personally, in my career, over the 10 years I've played, I've been through 5 major surgeries. I've broken my leg once, broken my ankle once, broken my knee twice. I've had surgery on my shoulder twice, broken my collarbone once. So that's like the ugly side of sports. But apart from that, I would like to say the benefits so far outweigh the risks involved.
Great. So let's talk about the turning of things, you shifting from being a rugby player to now a content creator in TikTok and doing cooking. How did it come across? How did you know that that was in you?
I wouldn't say that I knew I was gonna head towards the direction I'm currently in the path I'm currently on, because even the cooking, like that's why when I said rugby has given me everything, even the cooking part of me is partly influenced by the rugby because of the traveling. Because per year we do almost 18 countries or 16 to 18 countries, if I'm not wrong. It's been over a year since I've been out. So once you go to these countries, of course, there's a food you're served at the hotel. Sometimes it's different. There's a food you eat in the streets outside there. So I got to test the different cuisines outside there. Got curious, how are they prepared? So I used to come back home and try and recreate the same. That was way back since when I started in 2010. I was not yet even posting the foods. I started cooking online. And then my friends back then told me, by the way, the friends who actually enjoyed my food, they were like, your food is actually nice. Why don't you start a food blog? Back then, blogging was still a thing. I don't know if it's still a thing, but I let my blog die a natural death. So that's when I decided to open a food blog. So that was actually my first, even before I had a Twitter account, I had a food blog, and the name of the food blog was Women Should Cook. Not women, but we men.
Oh,
So we men should
okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, so that's where I used to share my recipes, and then I decided, okay, let me do it on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok came. Yeah, so and just apart from sharing the food, social media as a sportsman, I would say, because I would like to see ourselves as a public figure. But how social media also helped us or helped me is through social media, I found a platform where I can control my narrative. Like how I want people to see me is what they'll see. As opposed to back in the days when, a small scandal, the story that the news media says, the newspaper, whatever the guys in the news read, that's what is taken as the gospel truth. But through social media, I found a channel through which I can be able to control my narrative. So whatever they say outside there, because at the end of the day, as a sportsman or as a human being, mistakes do happen. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life. As a sportsman, as a regular Kenyan, as a father, I'm sure I'll be making those mistakes. That's how we learn. I have missed a couple of flights when I've actually been named to be part of the team. I've missed a couple of flights, and stories have been wrote about me. But through social media, I managed to change that narrative. So social media, for me, there are the pros and the cons. So the pros about it is you can be able to tell a narrative of your story from your eyes, apart from them. And then now translating later on as I was winding down my playing careers, because as we say, like, rugby is a physically demanding sport. Like we wake up every other, for 10 years, I used to wake up at 5:30 and train till late in the afternoon, then go home, have a rest or a power nap, and then you're back at it at 5:30 till 7:30. So that was kind of demanding. So, and I was approaching my early 30s, and in rugby, I usually say the career of a rugby player is like a glass of milk. If you get a fresh glass of milk and you put it on this table, you leave it here, maybe tomorrow it will be fresh, but the day after tomorrow it will be gone. It goes from fresh to stale pretty quickly. And that's the lifespan of most sportsmen. So as I was still doing sports, I was in the back of my mind, I was trying to see what I can be able to do to transition to life outside rugby, because it's a bit stressful, because I won't lie, like once I took a sabbatical off rugby and then decided to like fend for myself outside here, I went through periods of depression, because it's not easy from doing something you've been doing comfortably for 10 years, and then you all of a sudden you're outside in the real world where nothing is done for you. You have to cater for yourself for everything. So it was a bit challenging. And then again, through my content, I found out that actually people like my content, and there's a way I can monetize these. So for me, it was just all about being authentic, being real. The content I share is actually what happened. Nothing on my account is filtered. Maybe that's why I don't post so many of my photos, because I think I have a face for radio. So people enjoy my food more than my photos. Yeah, so through that, that's how I managed. Now I started working with brands, because also as my playing days were winding over, even in the marketing world, like I found that things that had started to change. Like people were not that so interested, let's say, in the traditional media, you know. The influencing thing was now beginning to pick up. So I was like, okay, this is some easy money I can jump on. I already have a following, and it's something I will, if there's any sportsman watching out there, sportsman or woman, I would like to tell them, like, sportsmen and entertainers are the biggest influencers in the world. So even after sports, there's a way you can still live off your name comfortably. Yeah, and that's what I managed to do, and I'm still hoping to do better than that, because I don't think had it not been for sports, I don't think I'll be here.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I really like the part where you commercialized your talent. I mean, you do have a talent here for cooking, but I liked the way that you monetized it to help you, yeah? Like you're making use of it. Yeah, I think that's something so many people should learn, like not to sit on their talents, but to make something good out of it.
Yeah, that actually the point you're speaking is quite true, because coming from a career of sports, I was here joking that we had everything done for us, like even a simple thing like handing over your passport. Sometimes even we had signatures signed on our behalves. So what a system like that does to you is after 10 years, when I was coming out, I found myself the first year of the first couple of months, and coincidentally it coincided with the lockdown, the pandemic lockdown. So that's when I actually realized that I'm a good rugby player. I can run with a ball. You won't, trust me, you won't catch me. If you give me a ball and I start running, you'll never catch me. But the soft skills of life, that's something I was not given in my playing career, because as a sportsman, you're just conditioned like a machine. Come in the morning, okay, those are weights. Today I want you to lift 130 kgs. I want you to sprint 40 meters in 6 seconds. I want you to do 10 laps in 6 minutes. So it was all about these short-term deliverables, but no really soft skill that can empower you to live life outside here. So once I left the system, the sporting system, I found out that I really don't even know how to sell myself. I don't know how to come up with a simple email just explaining who I am, what I'm doing, what I can offer to you as a brand so you can pay me to work with you. And yeah, those were the challenges that I had beginning as I was trying to monetize my talents. But I was quite lucky enough. I had a couple of friends. So I was managed under the good company. My good friend over here, okay, or the back there, seated over there. So he is still my manager. So those are the guys that actually showed me my way around how to live life now in the real world. So it's always good to have mentors and people to look up to and people to show you. And a big lesson I'll take from that, and I think everyone should be able to use this as a mantra, is always remain coachable. Because the same thing as in sports, today rules keep changing every other day. So is life. The challenges you're facing, they'll still be there tomorrow. So is life. The challenges will keep evolving. They keep changing. So is life. And this is something a former coach of ours told us. in life, for you to be successful, you always have to remain coachable and keep learning new skills.
So I've seen you, you've talked about having mentors to lead you in like the right path, and how good it is to have such people in your life. So I've seen some of your videos where you make food and then you feed to the street people.
Oh.
Yes. So how does it feel to know that you're impacting the society in a good way?
I've always liked working with people who people say sort of underprivileged. Well, I don't think they're underprivileged. They just lack the opportunities. And why I'm really close to street kids is because, as I was saying, in high school I was a naughty boy. So in form two, this is before I got expelled. But these, I'll take it back. I think this is a story for another day. I don't know whether we can discuss it here. It's from the mental issues and challenges I've been facing. So while in Form 2, at some point I snapped. I decided to run away from school and I didn't go home. So I ran away from school. I had not been to Nairobi by myself. That time I was studying Kisii High School, so I ran away at school. It was 6 p.m. in the evening when people were going in for their evening preps. Took a bus. I only had 600 bob. The bus was 500 bob. So I landed in Nairobi with 100 shillings. And then I got lost. So, and then I was like, okay, people live in the streets, so I can live in the streets. So I lived in the streets for a solid 1 week. I used to sleep under these oranges that used to ferry, these lorries that used to ferry oranges from Tanzania and pineapples. So we used to sleep under them at night. And when the drivers are asleep, of course, you jump up, grab a few oranges, eat, and then you have dinner. And when it was so cold, you just go to the bus station. When the buses arrive from upcountry, they are nice and warm. So you just go chill next to the exhaust pipe and you're fine. But yeah, so I only lasted there for 7 days. And the person who actually saved me was a fellow street kid. Because after a conversation, we had a conversation like 2 days. The conversation lasted for over 2 days. He was like, most of us here actually don't have a family. You have a family, you just ran away from school. They're actually making fun of me. So that guy actually took, because I'd finished my 100 bob. I actually finished my 100 bob the first day I landed in Nairobi. I should have managed that money quite well. Because I had 5 chapatis and some beans. I was left with 20 shillings.
In
and then
one day?
Yeah, in one day.
Wait.
And then I bought a pin pop and I was out.
To sit.
So that guy, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he took actually coins from his pocket. Back then it was this, not Simia Jami, it was this call booths where you put in the coins. So he put in the coins, I gave him my dad's number, called my dad, then my dad sent a search party. And yeah, one day later, I just stumbled into my uncle in the CBD, quickly put me in a bath and in a mat, took home. I had a proper 3-hour shower because for 1 week I only showered once, and that was in Nairobi River, just a passport. Yeah, so that's why up to now I have a very close spot to the street kids, and if I'm to do anything, they'll always come first before I think of, let's say, something else, like let's say a children's home, because a children's home is already a controlled environment. But outside there in the streets, life is tough. Life is really tough.
Yeah, that really explains the compassion that you have for the street kids. It's amazing.
I'd like to dig deep into your personal life, if you may allow. As a father of 2 kids, what sort of education would you wish to provide your kids while they grow up?
As a father of 2 kids, I think I'd like my kids to have the education that me now as an adult, I wish I had. Because growing up to now, growing up, I was not stupid. I used to pass my exams, even the university. I did economics and I did political science, economics, and some statistics. So what I figured out is I'm not really a book person. I don't really like, I like studying, I just don't like reading. And yeah, the things I really was interested in really weren't taught to me. Because back in the days in Kisii High School, where I was in secondary, my first years in secondary school, the government still had a program where we were studying electricity, woodwork. So I had taken up electricity and woodwork, but 1 year into school, the programs were scrapped off. So the education system I would like my kid to go through is, first of all, even forget about education. I'll want him to come out of the system confident, self-aware, respectful, and then by the time he leaves the education system, he already has figured out what his or her talents, because I already have a son and a daughter. They already have figured out what the talents they are and how good they are at that talent. Because had I figured out that maybe, let's say I'm a good rugby player, even in primary, I believe my professional career would have been far much better than it is right now. Had I realized that a talent of cooking earlier on, I believe I will be far off than when I came to discover it later. So the education system I look for them is mainly one, of course, books, they have to be book smart. But almost everyone in this room is book smart. But what else can you offer apart from that? And that's what will make them stand out in the world we're actually heading on or heading into. Yeah.
So essentially just preparing them for the future, helping them realize their talents and helping them make their talents be useful.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
So for them to exhaust their talents before they can actually use whatever they've learned from the books, I believe everyone is born with their own special talents. Like I never knew, it was never in my wildest dream that I knew I will one day play rugby for Kenya up to the Olympics. Growing up, I didn't know maybe someday I'll be able, the coffee table I'm using, like the cooking table I'm using outside. I never knew one day I'd have a thing for woodwork and make those things. So had I known these things earlier on, I'd be more refined. I'd be just way ahead in life, but yeah, better late than never. So for them, I just want to give them a better opportunity than I had.
So apart from having all these names, rugby star and the roaming chef, we'd want to know like what values you associate yourself with, and do you think the values influence you and your children and your family?
My values, my values, I will say they keep changing from here and there, but there's one value I always live by, and that is humility. Mm-hmm. I usually say you should be able to dine with a billionaire and dine with a pauper at the same time without feeling any difference. So humility, discipline, of which is a value. I'm not the most disciplined of person, but it's a value because I want to be disciplined. In future, I want to be more disciplined than I am today. So humility and discipline is what will see you through a lot of things in life. And consistency. Yeah.
Okay, you've just talked about being disciplined in future. That's part of your plans, yeah? What other plans do you have for yourself individually and your family as well? Like, what do you plan for them in the future and yourself?
My future, that's a hard question for everyone because the future is never planned. But as I said, same as with any other thing, same as the goals you have, the goalposts keep shifting. Like 2 years ago when I didn't have kids, my future ambitions were a bit different. But now with kids, I think I sort of prioritize them first. So my goal is to be able to have like a proper savings account for their education so that I can give them an education they actually deserve. I really don't want them go to a school where they have to fetch water from a kisima like we used to do, because I went to a boarding school, Nyambunua High School in Suneka, Nyambunua Primary in Suneka. We had no power. When it reached 6, we had to light up the pressure lamps. We had no running water, so you had to queue up to at the school's well to pull up your water. And the food was not that great. And yeah, as much as people say that that's what made us, for me, I believe just because I suffered, and I made it, that doesn't mean you have to suffer. If I didn't suffer, I think I would have been even further. So for me, is to be able to give my children a better life than I have, and that's on their side. But on my side is to work more on my discipline and consistency, because I'm the most inconsistent person sometimes. You might see me on social media 1-2 months and then I'm off. I disappear for 3 months. No one knows where I am. Some know, like, okay, over there, but not everyone knows. Yeah, so discipline and consistency, that's on my part. On the kids' part, give them a better life than I had. And of course, family-wise, I want to have a stable family, raise my kids in just a healthy home with no trauma.
I really liked what our guest pointed out when he was talking about the education for his children. I feel like Nova pretty much brings out that in terms of the education model and helping a child or a student discover the Nova inside them, whatever brings them apart from other people. So I feel like it's a really important aspect, especially on the education bit, for someone to be able to discover what they can do better than others and flourish in them and also build them, because it also helps them build them as a person.
I'm sure from some of the questions that I've asked, the audience also have questions because you're a really interesting person. So yeah, can we get like a few questions from the audience? Yes.
Hi, Dennis. I'm Michelle. So I wanted to ask, what is the biggest challenge you faced while transitioning from rugby to what you do now?
I have a couple of challenges, but I think my biggest challenge in life has been my battle with mental health, which I have been battling it all throughout my teenhood, of which I didn't know until I was diagnosed 2018 with bipolar disorder. And yeah, it's been a roller coaster journey. I've attempted suicide once, for those who don't know. I've been into self-harm. As you can see, I have scars on my hands over here. But that was back then when I was doing nothing to control my condition or disorder. But since I was hospitalized, I got a therapist, a psychiatrist. I've been on my meds consistently, and life has been good. So there's always a way out. As long as you seek help, find a couple of people you are willing to talk to, find a good therapist, and life will always go on. There's always hope. Never lose hope.
That's a very huge step to speak out about the things you've gone through, especially when it comes to suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it's very inspiring how you decided to handle your challenges and you've become a better person from whatever you were facing.
Yeah, it's even coming out was a bit difficult because I've always been wanting to come out, but at the same time I was still undergoing the struggles. So I was like, anyway, until I'm sure I'm safe and dry on the other side, that's when I'll come out. But the past 2 years, 1.5, I've been on top of my disorder, and I think it's just consistency in meds, and that's why I was saying the things I want to improve, one of it is being consistent, because since my diagnosis in 2018, I've had a couple of episodes, and that was just because I was not consistent with my therapy, with my meds, and just the self-care habits that will enable me to have a healthier, fulfilling life. But now, since I'm able to be in control of my condition, I'm able to speak out, and I hope, even if I can help just a single person, that's more than enough for me.
Mm-hmm. That's really inspiring. Do we have another question? Yes. Yes.
Hi, Ombachi. Nyawanda, a Form 3 student at Nova Pioneer.
Hey, they feed you earlier. Seva.
And my question is, what is the highlight of your career, like the best in-pitch moment for you as an individual?
That's a good question. Of course, playing for over 10 years, I've quite a few moments special and close to my heart. But I think what actually stands out for me was it's an embarrassment. I can't remember the year, but it was the Olympic qualifiers. We were playing in South Africa. The final game against Zimbabwe. The hoot had already gone. The match was technically over. I think we were trailing by 2 points, and had Zimbabwe kicked the ball outside, they would have qualified to the Olympics, and Kenya would have been out. And I think that was the first time Kenyan rugby was going to participate in the Olympics. So that match I had started off the bench, and the coach brought me in and around the second half, and I contributed the first try that Collins Injera scored. I gave the assist, and the winning try, I managed to score the winning try, and that was by dishing out 3 not so soft handoffs. Yeah, so that for me stands out as the highlight of my career. But what actually really makes it special is the same what I've been talking about, my mental health issues. Because during the same tournament, I didn't start any of the games because I was experiencing a low. The previous night I had taken an overdose of painkillers. So the physiotherapist found me, I was looking under the weather, so they took me to the tournament doctor, assessed me, told me nothing is wrong with you. They thought it was malaria. They PMA'd me. They found I'm totally fine. But deep down in myself, I'm the only person who knew what I was going through. Of course, at that particular point of time, no one knew. I hadn't come out as yet. So for me to be able to come out of that and still be able to take Kenya to the Olympics, that will remain the highlight of my career.
So guys, we are with our guest here, and we are really excited because he's about to show us how to make a quick on-the-go snack.
Yeah, where are the ingredients? Patieni mkate. Where's the bread?
Someone bring everything that we need.
Let me actually kneel down for it.
Food, wow.
Perfect.
You need any help?
Help? No. Fungua. So the first one, we'll start with the banana.
Should I help you peel them?
Yeah, you can help me peel at least one.
So what are we having here?
It's a peanut butter banana sandwich. Nothing fancy. If you're expecting something fancy, I'm sorry.
It's fine, you can okay.
Simple, quick, delicious. So first of all, peanut butter. So these also will act as a waterproof layer so the sandwich doesn't get soggy. Ideally, you should toast the bread, but we have no source of heat.
We don't have a toaster, so it's fine.
So we make a simple sandwich on the go. So bread done. Banana.
It's filled.
Hey,
Sorry.
this banana is struggling.
What else can we use in place of the peanut butter?
Butter,
This butter.
regular butter.
Okay.
Yeah, so just slice it as you would like.
I was really excited to get to see you chop as fast as you usually do in your
Chopping.
videos. Yeah.
Yeah, remember, fast is cool, but safe is always better. But as soon as you master the technique, it becomes easier, because for you to be able to go fast chopping, you have to use this is the middle finger. I don't want to show it. The middle finger, and then the knife always slides over here. So when you're chopping, you can even close your eyes and just do this a lot of times. So you don't even have to look at the food. But if you hold your food like this, you can cut yourself. So it's always safer. This one for beginners, but me, I use this one. This one is faster for
How
me.
will you hold something using this finger?
So like this, so you assume this is your, whatever you're chopping, your vegetable.
Yeah.
So you don't chop like this. So you bring this ahead, and then put this back, and then you can even look up away, and the knife is still sliding. So this knuckle acts as a barrier. And so some cinnamon. That's enough. Close it up. Press it down. Knife. Okay, this knife needs to be sharpened. And that's our first simple sandwich. Ooh. Try it out.
What?
Where's my juice?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Man, nasikia njaa.
So let's make the next sandwich.
Yeah.
An avocado and ham sandwich. So you're going to need butter. Again, with every other sandwich, you start with a waterproof layer. This time is butter, so that it doesn't become soggy. And then avocado. But first, because avocado is wet, you go with the cheese.
What exactly?
Hey, this knife is struggling. So the cheese is still for the flavor, of course, but it still acts, it gives another waterproof layer. So your sandwiches don't become soggy. All right. So ham. So ham on both sides because it's less wet than the avocado. So the avocado will go in the middle. Is it avocado or avocado?
Man.
Potato, potato.
Exactly.
Ah,
That avocado.
who chose
Nice.
this avocado?
Me. Don't talk.
And then sharp knife and go through. And there we have it.
Thank you.
Ladies second.
No, you played me. That's not fair, but it's fine.
Cheers.
That's not fair, but it's okay.
And that's it. Simple, easy, quick, delicious.
Amazing, amazing stuff.
Why don't you give us like a highlight of the day and take us to the pitch? And
Yeah.
let's play something. We have the rugby team for Nova and we have you. So you can go do something outside.
Let's
Yes.
go. Actually,
Guys, we've had such an amazing time with our guest here, Dennis Ombachi. We really appreciate him for coming and we've had such a great episode with him. Thank you, sir.
Tune in for the next time. And Ombachi, please wrap it up for us.
for you parents at home, don't forget, pioneer your kids' education by enrolling them to Nova Pioneer and subscribing to the Nova Pioneer channel.
Till next time.
See you on the brighter side.